So I'm sitting in the Malibu right now with brake lines above my head, which we're going to get started on this car soon enough. You're probably wondering, why am I sitting in the Malibu? Well, I finally got a wireless mic, so hopefully you're hearing everything I'm saying right now. But today we are not working on the Malibu. We're going to be working on the Camaro. And we're going to be installing the two-step. So this is an MSD 8733 part number. Two-step for LS engines, and essentially this is just a plug-and-play deal. We have these two connectors right here. These just go in line to the coil connections on the valve covers, one for the passenger side, one for the driver's side. You pull the coil connection off of the valve cover, you plug one end into this, and then you reconnect that end on the car from both sides. So it's going to get its power from these connections here. It's going to do its, ignition cut magic through there. And then on the other end, we have the little block here. It has a couple of little screws that you can adjust the RPM where you want it to cut off. And then we just have two connections right here, which are very simple. One is a power and one is a ground. Well, they accept power or ground signals, and this is what's actually going to turn them on. So if you have a button on the dash or something running to 12 volts, you flick that. 12 volts will go into this and trigger it. Or if you're running it off a clutch switch that grounds, or like a parking brake switch or some kind of ground circuit, you hook the ground side up, and then that ground is going to signal this, and it'll turn on and give you some good two-step action. But this cost me about 255 bucks. I ordered it off of Amazon like I do with everything, just because I was impatient and I wanted it the next day, even though I wasn't going to install it for another 4 days. So I have a lot of wires and shit going on under here. But the connectors we're looking for are these big white ones right here. If your car is completely stock and you still have the stock coil brackets holding the coils to the valve covers, your connector is going to be kind of positioned right on the valve cover. Usually it's like clipped down. That's how the Tahoe is right now. But for me, mine are just kind of tucked away right underneath the fuel rail. And we're just going to unplug these. We'll grab our two-step, and looking at the instructions, there's no specific way they say to mount this, because one of these are longer than the others, but they're the exact same connection. All it's doing is cutting the ignition. So you could just mount it whichever way is going to be easier for you. But for me, I'm going to mount the longer one going to the passenger side and the shorter one on the driver's side like that. That way the actual module will be on the driver's side. Then I could just put this wire through the hole in the firewall by the brake booster that I made for the boost gauge hose. Plug this in line like so. And that is it. Basically 90% of the installation is done. All we have to do is tap our turn on wire into something. Taking a quick look at the instructions, the blue wire here is going to be the ground trigger, and the blue and white is going to be 12 volt. You don't want to hook these both up together. All you need is one or the other to actually turn that thing on. For me, my car doesn't have a clutch switch, so I'm going to be hooking it up to the parking brake. So if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing hooking it up to the parking brake, for anybody who's been following the channel for a while or from the beginning, you see my walk around video. This car was originally a 2.8 V6 with an automatic transmission. So I do not have a clutch switch. Yeah, I could have wired one up when I did the swap. I just didn't feel the need to. I'm kind of the only one ever driving this thing. Normally you would hook this up to the clutch switch, which I think it gives 12 volts or something when you press the clutch down. So holding the clutch down on that switch, that's gonna turn the two-step on. You could just floor the throttle. It's going to cut the ignition wherever you set it. For me, yeah, I can go and put a clutch switch in and wire it the same way, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to be using the parking brake switch. If you're wondering why I'm doing that, it's solely because I feel like I'm going to have more control over it and I can launch better. Because essentially, with wiring it into the clutch switch, at least with my car, the grab point is kind of high on the clutch. So it's not right off the floor like that. It starts grabbing like around here. So if I'm using the two-step, I have to be on the floor. I can't hold the clutch up. Normally when I'm ready to launch, I'm holding it right at the grab point right here. So when I launch, I just kind of take it right off. I'm already at the point. If I have the two-step hooked up to the clutch switch that I don't even have, I'm going to have to hold it on the floor the throttle, and then when the light changes, I just have to like dump it basically. I'm not going to be already at that point. So by wiring it into this, I'm going to use the ground circuit. So it's going to be off when the parking brake is down. It's never going to work with the parking brake down. Once I pull it up and the switch in here, I'm pretty sure it's a ground. So when you pull this up, it grounds the bulb inside the dash. I'm going to hook it up to that ground there. So when this is up in any position, the two-step's going to be on. And what that's going to allow me to do, because what I do right now is kind of use this as a staging brake a little bit. When I'm at the line, I'm holding this up like this with my foot right on the grab point so the car doesn't roll forward. Then when the light changes, I literally just let go of the clutch and I let that down. And then I just take off. So eventually I want to put a staging brake in this car, but for now I've been doing it that way. And I think that's going to work really well with the two-step because I'll be sitting on the line. I'll be right on the grab point. I'll have this up, foot to the floor on the throttle, two-step engaged. Then as soon as the light changes, I'll just be right at the point there. I'll let the clutch off, put this down simultaneously. Foot will already be 100% on the throttle. And I should be able to take off relatively smoothly and consistently without putting extra strain on the drivetrain or blowing the tires off by just doing like a quick dump or anything like that. But before we get to the parking brake wire, I'm just going to mount this here, I think, because it's going to be easy to get to. I can kind of get back here with the flathead screwdriver. If I put it up here, and it's going to be a little difficult getting to the adjustments. But I already set this to 3,000, two little dials here. I put each one on 3. That should be a pretty good starting point. All right, after about 30 seconds of zip tying, we're all in place. I just used some double-sided tape and I secured it down right there. Just kind of tucked the connectors away, zip tied them accordingly. Everything looks really good. Very, very simple installation. Now I'm just hooking up the ground wire for the parking brake. That's this tan one right here that's on the actual parking brake switch itself. So I just pulled this off. I'm going to splice the blue wire probably into here, reconnect this to the parking brake. You pull the brake up, this grounds the light, grounds the two-step, and we should be in business. All right guys, two-step is done. I just hooked it into the parking brake, gave it a little solder, wrapped it up, put the console, everything back together. We have it set to 3,000. Let's see what it does. I'm just leaving it at 3 for now because obviously I'm still in the garage. I don't want to piss the neighbors off, but with the parking brake off, there should be no limiter now. This isn't accurate, by the way, so don't go by that. Now, parking brake on, and like I said, when I'm at the track, I'm going to be holding it down like this, foot to the floor, and then when I take off, I'm going to drop it, and that'll kill the two-step. On. Perfect. Now I'm going to floor it. Before I just had partial throttle on. Yeah, it works. I didn't want to get off of it right then because I didn't want it to shoot up to red line while I'm not actually moving. Beautiful. Exactly how I want it to work. I'll test it out this way. If for some reason I don't like the way it works with the parking brake, I can always put in a clutch switch, but I think this is going to be my best bet. Leave a comment below, any of you guys who have a stick car, drag car, and how'd you wire up your two-step? Did you do kind of what I did? Did you use the clutch switch? All right, just like that, two-step is ready to go. Really love this little kit. Installation couldn't have been simpler. Just that one wire spliced into the parking brake. It works absolutely beautiful. I love the parking brake, kind of engaging it. Comes off as soon as I drop the brake. So I think this is going to improve my times dramatically by using the parking brake. Not only the two-step, but just using the parking brake method and kind of preloading it up. But for now, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I'm going to put a link to the two-step down below in case you want to go and check that out. Next video, we're probably going to be breaking into the Malibu because we're not going to the track for a few weeks in this. So we're probably going to get some Malibu action going on. I got a brake line kit I actually got headliner material because I'm going to be redoing the headliner in the Camaro. I ordered a Hawks backing, so I'm going to redo the Hawks backing with the suede, so it'll match that one. Who knows, I might do a little giveaway on the hardtop headliner if somebody's running harnesses. Even if you're running regular belts, just have to make a couple little cuts for your belts there, and as long as you don't have a cage, it'll slip right in. And yeah, I'm not actually making it back to the track until I think the 29th of October, so I have a few weeks to go. I'm just gonna I gotta figure out the HP tuners thing because the MPV i2 just is not connecting. I do not know why. The OBD connector's fixed now, the prongs aren't falling out. The thing just doesn't want to connect, and I just plug it into the laptop without being in the car just to kind of resync the interface to the network or whatever, and it just doesn't even do anything. The bar doesn't go across, so I'm pretty sure it's a problem with the thing. Anybody who has that new one, you know, the little tiny MPV i2, and you're having problems with it, you figure something out with it, please leave a comment. I know I did a quick Google search. A lot of people have the same problem. The thing just doesn't want to connect. HP Tuners, you know, wants you to send the thing back. They have to look at it, and then they have to send it back. It's kind of like a big production. It takes a little time, so I'm probably going to get on that right away because I really want to data log this thing. I think there might be a little more in it because all we did was get like a degree of timing last time. It picked up a mile per hour, so we could probably add a little bit more to it with the new blower pulley on there without the belt slipping. But for now, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Remember, if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in a few days.